As far as we know, no one's ever addressed the United States Congress in a sweatshirt before, but they love him much more than they love you.
So that's Tucker Carlson attacking Zelensky in I guess the favored way on the right is to attack his clothing because he's not fancy enough. As if he were to come in a fancy suit, they wouldn't attack him for being fancy while his people are dying. Also, I wanted to play the particular clip to remind you that his show is awful in a lot of ways in terms of the dishonesty, the white supremacy and all that, but it's also deeply weird. They love him more than they love you. That is a deeply weird way to communicate to a news audience. Can we all agree that, Brett?
Yeah, it is severe divorced dad vibes trying to turn the kids against the mom.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's like, listen, I love you. What's so stupid is like they always complain, they're complaining about all the money that's going to Ukraine, but every time we do spend money the way they want us to spend money in those claims, like money on the people of America, the right-wing pundits get mad at that too.
Yeah, they're
always like, oh, what this wealth? There's calling Zelensky a welfare queen, being like, well, they would buy, the Congress should buy you presents too. Well, anytime that the Congress buys presents, which I would argue is like the fundamental job of the government to make sure that there is like a baseline of non-suffering in their nation, they're like, oh, I can't believe that they're buying you presents. They're just giving it away. And that's because Tucker Carlson's main job and main skill is to otherize key people in a way that keeps his target audience oblivious to the fact that what he's advocating for is not good for them either.
Yeah, I like that the only argument they seem to come up with that they think might be effective to stop the foreign aid is we should be spending it here instead. But like they definitely don't believe that. So can we raise the wages? Could we get paid leave? Could we get literally anything? Student debt cancellation, you want to spend on dealing with climate crisis? No, you don't want to spend on any of that stuff. But they love him more than they love you.
And I love you.
I'm a news anchor.
Tucker unbuttons his shirt and pulls out a nipple and says, suckle. Suckle whites.
I don't like any of this, and this is the part that I like least. Anyway, here's more of Tucker Carlson.
Somehow we were reminded of it today when the president of Ukraine arrived at the White House dressed like the manager of a strip club and started to demand money. Amazingly, no one threw him out. Instead, they did whatever he wanted. Zelensky is demanding regime change in Russia, just like in Iraq and Libya and a long list of other failed states, except this time in the heart of the Eurasian landmass next door to the entire civilized world. That's what Zelensky has called for repeatedly, and every dollar we send to him goes toward that end. At this point, he's getting a lot closer to achieving it. So what happens if he, quote, wins? What does the ensuing chaos look like? Thought about that? Who's going to secure the world's largest nuclear arsenal once we help Zelensky topple the Russian government? Who replaces Putin? Strangely, those topics did not come up today because that wasn't the point.
Thank you for landing on that. No, none of any of that is the point. What are you talking about, you madman? There's a couple of things that we have to correct there. First of all, again, the focus on the clothing, super weird, incredibly weird that you think that would be an effective thing.
Listen, I have to step in right there. Like that is racist. That's racist against white people. For as much as Tucker Carlson complains against being racist against white people, if you're making fun of an Eastern European dude in a sweatsuit, you are making fun of 9/10 of all Eastern European dudes because that is essentially the highest form of respect in their uniform. Yeah. Like if you go to, someone's gonna wear a dish dash and cutter. Someone's gonna wear a full sweatsuit when you go to freaking Ukraine 100%. And Russia.
100%. And also Tucker Carlson is a populist. He hates the elites, but also if you don't dress as fancy as him, you're trash and no one should listen to you. Weird. Anyway, so Zelensky went there and they gave him everything he wants, except no, not at all. They didn't give him nearly as much money. He would want far more money. He would want direct transfer of US jets. He would want long range missiles. He would want many things that he is literally asking for and being denied. So 100% untrue. And while Zelensky, I'm sure, has said that Putin should be toppled, the idea that that's what every dollar we give goes towards that goal. Oh, and also he's close to it. I must have missed the news of Ukrainian forces streaming across the border and besieging Moscow. But if you're a viewer of Tucker Carlson, you believe that Ukraine has the upper hand and they're about to defeat Russia. All of it is madness. All of it is lies. We can disagree about the funding. how much it is, where it goes, whether we should be involved, what the timeline and how diplomacy should be done. What we can't have a debate about is bald-faced lies about literally every part of this conflict.
Yeah, and the rhetorical approach I have to statements like that is like, well, I'm glad you feel that way, Tucker, because you've identified what we disagree on, and it's just the facts. Like, I'm glad you think that my position is how you're presenting it, because it's just not. And now is the part where I tell you, I actually don't want to go in and topple any countries. I think if you ask what's happening after, it goes back to Ukraine being Ukraine and Russia being Russia, if you must know. So I'm glad that's your problem with it. But really, this is just a calculus of caring. That's most of politics and political discourse. It's a calculus of how much you actually care about Ukraine, and how much you actually care about taxes, and how much you actually care about America's standing in the world. And Tucker Carlson, for better or for worse, his calculus is you probably don't care that much. All you do really care about when you watch a news program or go to vote is feeling a little smarter than most people. And that is kind of a definition of contrarianism, but that really is the bread and butter of most of discourse on the right is, oh, everybody's saying this, but you're smarter than that, which translates to that first clip you played, which is they don't love you as much as they love him.
Yeah, people need to be more on the watch for the stroking of the ego from the face that's yapping at them out of the camera. Like he will say that this is a secret knowledge that nobody else knows. You understand it? No, I don't do that. I don't lie to the audience and say they're super intelligent. I call them dumb donkeys on a literal constant basis, and they weirdly like it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.